New Delhi is all set to host the crucial meeting of G20 foreign ministers as the participating foreign ministers arrive in New Delhi. All eyes are on India and what role it can play as the sitting G20 president. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra held a press conference before the G20 foreign ministers meet and addressed questions regarding India's plan to bridge the gap between the West and Russia. And whether a joint statement will be issued at the end of the summit, Kwatra said that no outcome can be prejudged. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met his UK counterpart James Cleverly and discussed the global situation as well as the G20 agenda ahead of the bloc's meeting of foreign ministers in New Delhi. The war in Ukraine and spiraling US-China tensions are expected to dominate the G20 meeting. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang are among the participating foreign ministers. Scores of exiled Tibetans staged a protest outside the Chinese embassy in New Delhi ahead of the G20 foreign ministers meeting. The Tibetan Youth Congress, along with Students for a Free Tibet India and the National Democratic Party of Tibet, organized the protest to condemn Qin Gang's visit to India. China has ruled the remote western region of the Tibet since 1951, when its army marched in and took control. Beijing brands Dalai Lama, who chose to seek refuge in neighboring India, as a dangerous separatist. The deal between Tata and Bisleri International Group seems to have landed in troubled waters. According to reports, both corporate giants are finding it difficult to reach common ground for the valuation of the deal. The owners of Bisleri were looking to raise around $1 billion from the deal. It is expected that talks between Tata and Bisleri could be resuming soon. Bisleri is one of India's largest bottled water producers and holds around 60% of market share of India's bottled mineral water. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has said that trilateral cooperation between the United States and Japan is now more important than ever to overcome North Korea's growing nuclear threats and other crises. Yoon's comments come after South Korea's president said that officials from the three nations have held their first economic security dialogue amid efforts to strengthen supply chain resilience and develop technology. China's Minister of Finance, Liu Kun, has said that the local government fiscal situation is likely to improve as the economy rebounds this year. Though debt risk for some authorities is high and repayment pressure is large, the world's second-largest economy is stabilizing after the lifting of COVID-19 containment measures late last year, with manufacturing activity expanding at the fastest pace in more than a decade in February. The liability ratio of statutory debt last year was about 50%. Which Liu said that is a relatively low level by global standards. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry has said that 19 Chinese Air Force planes violated its airspace on Wednesday. According to Taipei, 19 PLA J-10 fighter jets had trespassed into Taiwan's southwestern air defense identification zone. These intrusions are the latest among what Taiwan alleges to be a pattern of China violating its airspace. China has stepped up its military activities in the South China Sea, asserting its claim on the island's sovereignty. The Taiwanese Air Force responded by sending its own fighters to deter the intruders. The Defense Ministry called it the usual protocol against the habitual trespassers. At least 36 people have been killed after a passenger train collided head-on with a cargo train in Greece. According to reports, around 85 people got injured in total. Fire and rescue workers searched through the mangled remains for survivors, and 2 trains collided head-on. The cause of the shocking rail crash remains unclear. The impact caused a fire in a number of passenger carriages, burning many commuters who were rushed to hospitals. The regional governor said that first 4 carriages of the passenger train got derailed in the crash, and the first 2 carriages which caught fire were almost completely destroyed. The Ukrainian city of Bakhmut is under relentless and intense attack by the Russian forces. It's a city that Moscow has been trying to capture since last summer, but Ukrainian forces have so far stood their ground. But now Ukrainian military leadership is describing the situation there as quote-unquote very tense, with President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that intensity of fighting near Bakhmut is only increasing. The city has been battered by constant shelling and violent firefights. The Ukrainian soldiers defending the frontline city say that the situation around Bakhmut is extremely tense and that the city may eventually fall. Founder and owner of Susi Air has said that the airline will fight with everything for Philip Merson's freedom. Merton is a Susi Air pilot and was taken hostage by the West Papua National Liberation Army after landing in the remote region of Duga last month. She said the airline was in touch with the New Zealand embassy, but his current condition has been unknown due to rebel groups' high mobility. The rebels had said that they will not release the 37-year-old Mertens unless Indonesia's government recognizes the region's independence and withdraws its troops. Logistics giant DHL is to double its planned investment in Mexico through 2024 as it shifts cargo flights from the capital's closest airport to a new distant facility backed by the country's president. The company will invest about $600 million in Mexico through next year, upping it from its previous plan of spending $300 million from 2019 to 2024. DHL is the first cargo carrier to transfer its flights from Mexico City's more centrally located Benito Juarez Airport to the new hub. Obrador supported the switch to the new airport, saying more space was needed due to insufficient space at Benito Juarez. Nigeria's ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu has been declared as the president-elect of Africa's most populous nation after a weekend election that the main opposition parties have disputed. According to the country's electoral commission, Tinubu garnered about 8.79 million votes ahead of main opposition challenger Atiku Abubakar's 6.98 million votes. Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State, will take over leadership of a country grappling with insurgencies, armed attacks as well as kidnapping, along with issues like corruption and power shortages. Amid the controversies regarding the outcome of the Nigeria election, with the opposition even going to the extent of calling it a sham, Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress Party candidate Bola Tinubu has won the election. He has defended the integrity of the national election and called on citizens to unite around him after a bitter dispute over results. Video shared on Twitter showed people watching the election results with Tinubu and erupting into cheers as he was declared president-elect. Tinubu did a little victory dance at the APC event to celebrate the win. New York City woke up to its heaviest snowfall of the season. Swathes of northeast USA were blanketed in white snow, and parts of Massachusetts and New York hit hard by the extreme weather. According to the National Weather Service, Central Park's total snow accumulation was about 1.8 inches. Officials estimate that parts of the northeast could see 8 inches of snowfall. The fierce weather is expected to last through the week. A 50-foot mudslide at a home in Beverly Hills led to road closures and the evacuation of an elderly male resident and his caretaker. One of several terraced retaining walls on a 1/3 acre property gave way, causing mud to cascade downhill away from the 2,415 square foot house. However, no injuries were reported, and there has been heavy rainfall falling in the area recently, but officials have not yet determined the cause of the mudslide. Spanish biotechnology company WION The World is giving organic waste a second life by using bacteria to produce bioplastic. According to the CEO of the company, these bacteria have the ability to eat organic waste and at the same time to produce these biodegradable bioplastics for the bacteria. The biodegradable bioplastic is like an energy reserve, so optimizing and selecting the best bacteria that are able to eat the organic waste and produce this biodegradable bioplastic. The company uses eggshells and sea oysters or potato pulp to achieve the desired strength, stiffness and flexibility of the bioplastic. The Ocean Race fleet has started leg 3 of their 12,750 nautical mile journey from Cape Town to Brazil. The Cape of Good Hope will be the longest ever leg in the 50-year history of the Ocean Race. From South Africa, the fleet will pass Australia's Cape Leeuwin and South America's Cape Horn before turning northward to Brazil. Leg 3 is the third of 7 legs of this edition of the Ocean Race. Team Holcomb TRB hold the overall lead right now after having won the first 2 legs of the race from Alicante, Spain to Cape Verde and Cape Verde to Cape Town.